Hello and welcome back to Really Good Appears, where we chat about and discuss all sorts of movies. My name is Gary O'Brien, and joining me as always for the monthly release recaps, it's my very good friend and co-host David Scanlon. Today we're talking about the latest movies of March 2023, so stick around. We hope you enjoy. David.
Yes.
That's your name, isn't it, David?
That's me.
Cool. This time last year, the world was a different place. You know, we were plagued with a disease or infection that took over the world. March movie madness of 2022 was something that was relentless. Yeah. We had some great releases. Some fantastic movies came out. And then thankfully that's just plateaued into whatever the fuck March this year was. Hey, welcome back to the podcast. This is going to be a fun one. These movies are totally fine.
Come on.
No, there is some
There's
good ones
good fun here.
There is, yeah. But my God, I will say, so two of the movies that we're talking about today are actually in my top two of the movies that have come out this year as a whole. But my God, up until like last week, it was looking very grim for March, in my opinion.
Okay.
Rye Lane and Tetris are like two of my favorite movies this year. And after like Creed 17 and Shazam 60 and John Wick 39, I was kind of just like, what are we doing with the cinema anymore? All these sequels.
What's the point?
Yeah, maybe Martin Scorsese has a point. Every movie should be boring and 9 hours long.
And should have Leonardo DiCaprio.
And maybe Robert De Niro. Robert De Niro's in the new one as well.
Yeah.
David, you're back. Hello, how are we? Are we well?
Spring has sprung. The clocks went forward.
Yep.
And it's bright outside.
Was that why you're an hour late?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Or early?
I said I was going to be here between 4 and 7, and it is now 4:10. So,
and I knew you were going to be here 20 minutes ago.
Yeah. No, there's some good movies here. I had some good time. Some of them. I didn't.
Yeah, we got some blockbuster sequels, like I kind of mentioned, some indie darlings.
Yeah.
And we got some Dungeons and Dragons.
That's
the only one that didn't fit into
We mentioned that, I think at the end of the last podcast, that March has become that release month for a lot of big blockbuster movies. I think ever since like Captain America Civil War in 2016, it's been that kind of thing pre-summer, trying to get your movie out with a bit of real estate that you can build a big box office.
Mm-hmm. And just like whatever Marvel movie's coming out at the beginning of May, get in front of that.
Yeah, exactly. So that's why we have.
And Paddy's Day weekend.
Oh, of course, yeah. That's a big thing.
That's why Shazam came out. They were just like,
they look at that and go, the Irish, they have that bank holiday. We better take advantage.
And the Bostonians, Chicagians,
yeah, and
Florida probably. I don't know,
certain parts of New York.
Yeah, there you go. But anyone who isn't aware of what we do here, please let us know.
Welcome.
So what me and David do is every month we talk about
let us know.
That's what I think. Let us know, please. We talk about all the movies that have come out on Irish cinemas and streaming in the last month, and we just talk about them. And we also look forward into the next month as well, and we give hot takes on what we think is going to be good next month.
Yeah.
And I think I had said John Wick was the one I was looking forward to most. And well,
give us one word.
You're gonna have to long.
There you go.
So we're gonna start with we'll run through what we're talking about: Dungeons and Dragons, Honor Among Thieves, Rye Lane, Creed 3, John Wick Chapter 4, Shazam, Fear of the Gods, Scream 6, God's Creatures, and Tetris.
Yeah.
And I thought, there's
a nice balance there of some hidden gems,
isn't there?
Some little some more kind of streaming movies, and then as we said, big blockbusters
and good movies and bad movies.
Some good movies, some bad movies. Yeah. Almost like every month, except for February last year. I know it was all bad movies.
Yeah, because nothing came out, and I was like, I guess I'll watch Sneakerella. No, that wasn't Sneakerella. No, Cheap by the Dozen was last February. Yeah. Oh God,
I think Morbius was last February.
Morbius was last week. I feel it stayed with me that long.
You just keep rewatching.
Yeah,
it. You just see how bad cinema can get. Just to keep yourself grounded.
I'm just trying to remember any quote from that movie, and all I can remember is like, this has got something to do with Spider-Man. That's all I got. But speaking of fun times in the cinema, should we talk about Dungeons and Dragons, Honor Among Thieves?
And Dragons. So this is, the best way I can describe it is just like medieval Guardians of the Galaxy, or what you had a good quote about it.
It's like Lord of the Rings, but Marvel made it.
See, I'd say less so. Like, yeah, maybe, yeah.
It's what I'm more so mean by that is like it has the fantastical elements and world building of Lord of the Rings, but it's just like, well, that just happened of a Marvel movie.
Yeah, I suppose. So we're introduced to Chris Pine, who plays, I don't know anyone's names. I actually don't know anyone's names.
The Bard. We call him like
the Bard.
The Bard.
Yeah. So and he anyway. Look, he creates a team to go and steal stuff, and eventually has to break out of prison. And it's this adventure across mystical lands with mystical creatures and wizards and demons and druids and
Regé Jean Page.
Yeah,
the most scariest beast of all.
Exactly. Look, the best way I would say is, look, if you like those kind of fantastical movies with more of a kind of comedic element rather than serious, you're going to enjoy this. Personally, I had a great time with this, and the main thing I would say about this is just it's pure escapism. Like, I don't know if this is going to be remembered in even a year's time, but it was just one of those movies where you could just sit down, not necessarily turn your brain off, because I think there's some smart elements to it as well, but it was just a fun time. And don't take it too seriously. It's a bit silly. You could tell the cast were having a good time. I had a good time with it. I know some people may not have had. Some people might have found it a bit spoofy, but personally, I enjoyed it. Especially, it came hot on the heels of another movie that we saw, which was way too long, which we'll get to.
Lawrence of Arabia.
Exactly. But look, I had a good time, and personally, I'm not a big fan of, say, Dungeons and Dragons in itself, but I'm a fan of like fantastical elements.
Fantastic elements and where to find them in this movie.
Yeah.
Not in a briefcase.
Big fan of the cast. I think everyone kind of does a good job. The casting in general was quite good. I think they've matched characters to actors very well. But yeah, overall, just really good time. I don't want to go too much into it because it's spoiler. I don't want to spoil anything. I don't know if you can.
No, you can't. The trailers ruined so much in this movie.
That's true.
And that was what I was quite disappointed in. That some of the jokes are ruined. There's a whole scene that takes place in this kind of underground world, and there's a whole bit that's just completely ruined. And then most of the third act fight scene.
But I can understand they're trying to sell this movie. They have to try and sell this.
I understand.
And it's not a DC or a Marvel movie, which they do it as well. But they kind of have to sell this because.
Fair. I don't know, yeah.
And it's the other thing was, I think we'll probably mention it later, is the CGI was a little bit dodged, but it's that kind of thing where you hold certain studios to a higher standard than others, or you hold other movie series to a higher standard than others, and this one I was totally fine with a lot of it. There's a creature in it that I thought looked pretty cool. The other thing I want to mention is some of the action scenes, the action choreography. Again, going on from what we've seen previously, it was not that it was 100 times better. It was just different, and I thought they just put a lot of effort into it. There was the way it was shot. It was easy to track, say, certain characters when they're in those action scenes. I just had a really good time, and it was as much a surprising element as it was kind of enjoyable. But it was just something I needed to highlight, that especially Michelle Rodriguez, she seemed to really put a lot of effort into those scenes, with the hand-to-hand combat and stuff like that. But look, what I would say is I'd recommend this to anyone. Just go and have a good time. Some people might not find it as fun as I did, but I had a good time. Chris Pine being charismatic, some fun jokes in there. Just a good time to cinema.
And I think for me, the biggest surprise I'd kind of had from it was that, as someone who doesn't play Dungeons and Dragons, the movie didn't feel like it was always trying to be a wink wink, from the game.
Oh yeah, there was bits that definitely went over my head, but it didn't seem like I was out
That's
of the
what
loop.
I mean. That's what I was kind of I was happy that I didn't feel like I was left outside of the.
You didn't feel like a doofus.
I didn't feel like a doofus, and that's most of what I feel like the majority of the time. But it was a case of being able to kind of feel like I have an introduction for it. And I think I saw someone talk about what they liked about the movie was in that it felt like just people playing the actual game, having fun, going through the adventure themselves. So that was good. Like you said, the jokes was good. I think the casting was a bit too obvious. As in, I feel like Michelle Rodriguez, of course she would play. I don't know. It just felt like everyone was kind of doing what they were good at.
Yeah, well,
I know. It's not a complaint. It was just I just feel like Michelle Rodriguez, I'm if she had a car, I'd be that's just the same character from thing. And I thought, you're one, and I forget her name, but
Sophie Lillis, is it?
Ooh, could be. Yes.
Yeah.
No. Yes, her.
druid.
The druid. I loved her in it. I didn't love her in this. I felt like she just felt a bit muted.
Well, see, she's kind of an elfish style
I
character.
know. I don't know. Yeah. I don't know.
I
Again,
don't know.
someone's kicking my chair for the whole fucking movie, so I
Yeah.
was pissed off anyway.
Yeah.
But I did like Justice Smith.
Yeah.
Although he was 100% playing his character from Jurassic World as well.
No, he's more of a dweeb in that.
He's a bit of a dweeb in
He's
this,
not.
though.
He's not a huge dweeb.
I think he just has an arc in this movie, and
Yeah.
that makes him less of a dweeb.
Yeah.
But and then I thought your one who played Daisy Head, who plays the evil Red Witch, was just evil
Generic.
for the sake of evil.
Yeah.
But
Bit generic.
yeah, and like, would I want to see this have a sequel? Yeah, 100%. What would I want more? I want more dice, David. I can't believe they didn't have anyone rolling dice.
Yeah.
You know, that's all I want from a Dungeons and Dragons movie. Good heist, very creative as well.
Yeah.
That was another thing I liked about it. Both like you had kind of mentioned in terms of some of the action, but I just felt in terms of, I don't know, the character decisions and the way they break out of jail at the beginning. It's not too much of a spoiler because obviously the movie happens. So there's just things like that and those sort of jokes.
But see, what I would say about that is there's certain scenes they've obviously cut into this movie where it's like these are important bits. But what I liked is they didn't feel like, okay, they felt kind of stitched into the story rather than being like,
okay, yeah, I get you.
block.
Like vignette kind of things. Yeah.
And you mentioned the heist. There's a bit in a graveyard. There's a bit at the start with it. Like it could have been so easy just to have those kind of big elements of the movie, and then the bits in between are just like, who cares? Right?
Well, just to go back to another movie, the same movie you keep mentioning, John Wick 4, and that was very fetch questy.
Exactly.
Whereas this actually felt a bit more of a natural story where it was like, John Wick, you gotta go here. Why? Because then the movie happens if you go here. So go here for...
Exactly.
We like the pretty backdrop of Belarus. I don't know. Like Berlin. I don't know. It could have been Belarus. You wouldn't have fucking known.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, like I was a big fan of this. I thought it was very fun and enjoyable. And would love to see a sequel. It's the guys who did Game Night, which is a fantastic movie if anyone hasn't seen it. And
I do like to see people like that when they do something kind of smaller or on a smaller scale, that they get the chance to do something of a maybe kind of higher budget or whatever. With higher caliber, not necessarily higher caliber of actor, but like just broaden their range and stuff like that. So
I reckon Marvel, our Lord and Savior Grace Randolph said that they should do X-Men.
I'd love that, but they won't be allowed to do what they want. They'll be told exactly what to do by Kevin Feige. So it's a balance. It's a balancing act.
I would like to see them not do franchise stuff and just be funny and just
do silly stuff.
Yeah,
be a bit like Lord and Miller.
I thought you were going to say Lord as in like the New Zealand recording artist. Be like her, eh?
Yeah. No, because it felt like that type of humor. It felt like that type of story that like Lord and Miller would have done with, say, 21 Jump Street.
Yeah.
Like it's along the same lines.
Although this movie doesn't have the same cultural significance as 21 Jump Street. I don't know if you saw the whole thing about Kanye.
No. Oh, sorry. This is Jonah Hilton.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. That was
I wonder if Dungeons and Dragons do that for anyone.
Yeah. Well, what is it, like Druid Lives Matter?
Yeah, just be like, I don't like...
Or Red Witch Lives Matter.
No, whatever the weird thing that Reggie Jean Page was, the name of their character, the Thuans.
Yeah, Thuans. Or Harpers? He was a Harper as
well. No, Chris Pine was a Harper.
Was he not a Harper as well?
No, Reggie Jean Page was a weird thing who got his face burnt off as a child.
What do you think of him? I thought he was a lot better.
I didn't like Reggie Jean Page in this at all. I thought he was doing... I felt like I was watching someone doing their best Drax impression.
Yeah, I suppose.
I don't know what it was.
See,
I just don't... there's something about him that annoys me. I think it's because you know the way he's scientifically the world's most handsome man. Whatever. I think. Really? Yeah, they looked into it. Something to do with research. Yeah, I know. I don't know. So I don't know if there's some like internal thing of me. It's nothing to do with like fuck you for being handsome. It's just like obviously that symmetry just causes my brain to be like, this is not unhuman and unnatural. We must scratch his eyes out.
He's like one of those.
Uncanny Valley.
Uncanny Valley thing. Yeah. No, so what I liked about his character is he felt like an NPC.
Yeah, I suppose.
Because like he was just there, and then he just appears.
But do you not think that's anything to do with his absolute void of personality?
Yeah, I suppose. But you didn't really get a chance to indulge in his character.
Although John, we went to go see it with John, and John was like he would have liked to seen him hang around for the third act. But then as in John and Owen were talking about this, they're big nerds. They were like, he's too OP, David.
Yeah.
Do you know what that means?
Overpowered.
Okay, thank you, because I was struggling for hours to find out what that meant. I was just nodding my head. I was like, yeah, he is OP.
Old person.
Went off the toilet, started crying. I was like, why don't I know things?
Look, good time.
Good times. Speaking of good times,
Yeah.
Rye Lane.
Oh, here we go.
So this is a movie that you gave it 4 stars in Letterboxd. So by the way, follow us on Letterboxd. David's DScannon10 and I'm Gary O'Brien, spelled in a weird funny way, but it's in the podcast description.
Yeah.
That it's a rom-com. First of all, you gave it 4 stars and you said like, look, I'd be interested to hear your thoughts, and that was enough for me to be like, right, I'll go see it. And then it's a beautiful hour and 20-minute movie. God, you not get anything better than that. I went to the cinema. It was bright out.
Yeah.
Left the cinema. Still bright.
Still bright.
Got home. Still bright. It was a beautiful day.
So you're telling me you went to the cinema and it was bright.
Yep.
You got out of the cinema, it was bright.
David, you wouldn't believe it, yeah.
And then you got home, and then you were in a movie with Will Smith and and some orcs.
That's very good. That's very good. I didn't see that coming.
I actually couldn't remember your man's name.
Joel Edgerton.
Yeah, Joel Edgerton, yeah.
Yeah, that was very good. Fuck you. Okay, well, the podcast's over. I'm done now. No, Rye Lane. So, yes, it's an hour and 20-minute movie. It is like an indie movie from the UK. It is basically all about... If anyone's ever seen the movie Before Sunrise, which I haven't seen, so I think that's why I like this movie so much, because it was a new enough concept to me, where basically it's about 2 people. There's the main character whose name is Dom, and he is crying in the Jacks, and this girl Yaz kind of comes across him crying, asking why he's crying, and eventually the two of them end up chatting at this sort of art gallery installation, and their day kind of just goes with them finding out that they're walking in the same direction towards home, and then the whole movie is just them walking to a place, or walking together and spending the whole day together, learning a bit more about each other, understanding why Dom was crying. He was in a relationship, he's broken up now with his, and he had to go see his ex, and Yas also was in a relationship and broke up with their boyfriend as well, so they were kind of bonding over that and understanding who they are as people, and blah 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 blah. And Kel surprise, they end up growing feelings for each other. And as a man who normally hates rom-coms, I just had a great time with this. That
was kind of the main reason I was like interested to hear your thoughts on it, because like I know this is totally out of your like. Yeah,
because I would have just... Well, see, I'm such an awkward human being that if someone was like, I'm walking this way, I'm like, I actually forgot my bag, I need to leave by.
I need to get the bus to Ongar.
So, no, and I guess why I love this movie so much is many, many reasons. I just think it is such a well-built movie in regards to the casting. The 2 leads are fantastic. The camera work is incredible. This cool different sort of camera lenses, like a fisheye lens used. There's different sort of weird side scrolling because again we're watching them sort of take a journey. The production design in that, like the background of Brixton and the colours of that versus the colours of their costume, and the music and the score is fantastic. The comedy is incredible. It's very, very funny. You had mentioned it in your review as well about the use of the different sort of flashbacks and cutscenes and stuff like that, and how they're integrated still integrated into their story. Like there's a scene where they're in like a movie theater and he's talking about the time he got dumped or whatever, and then the next scene as they're walking, she has a cinema popcorn and it doesn't make any sense, but it's still a bit more of like it very kind of feels like Scott Pilgrim versus the World-esque. But yeah, it's just very unique, and I just had a very fun time with it. And then even with its usual rom-com third act of like, maybe it doesn't look like it's gonna go their way, it still won me over at the end, which is again for me the biggest compliment I could pay this movie.
Oh, big time. Yeah, I think just like, and again, it could have been so simple to fall into that element of just like dialogue heavy. But like when there's so much going on around the characters in like not only the setting but the way, as you say, the shooting style, the way it was shot in terms of like side pans and stuff like that, it added a different element to it, and it's almost the type of thing where the dialogue is secondary to what is happening around you. You're almost just like so much attention being brought by the actual camera lens, and then obviously the setting. I thought that was brilliant. As you say, the place where it kind of fell down for me is just a little bit of a generic storyline, but again, you have so much fun while you're doing it, while everything is happening. As you said, just the intuition of like some of the flashbacks was brilliant for me. It's just because it's so easy again to fall into that trap of just like, oh, let's just flash back to this and just see what that character was doing in that situation. But to have the interaction and engagement with the present day characters as well was just, it's something that's probably underused by a lot of stories these days, because again, was it Shazam might have had a flashback scene that it just jumped out at me just like being.
Is this
really
the one where they
boring.
raid the staff?
Yeah, it could have been. And then
the Cocaine Bear, most notoriously with the worst ever flashback scene.
Yeah. But delighted to see this movie do well.
Is it doing well? I don't know.
No, well, sorry, just in a critical sense.
Oh yeah.
Like
99% Rotten Tomatoes.
Yeah,
the Irish Times gave it 5 out of 5, and you know what the Irish Times are like. I have no idea. Yeah. I feel like they give everything 1 star.
Like Mark Mo just enjoyed it as well in terms of like just uniqueness.
But I guess this was another thing I wanted to talk about, where it's just like when you compare it to like other rom-coms that come out, like Holiday and other shit,
garbage.
It's just other garbage.
Yeah.
It's just crazy to think that's like, as much as people think the rom-com is dead in a way.
Oh, this just shows how much you can actually add to it by different elements.
If you just innovate.
Yeah.
And I think what they love doing as well is they're just like, okay, what if we just tell the same story again, but we've got Ashton Kutcher and Reese Witherspoon.
Yeah.
They were in something recently, I feel.
Yeah, it was a Netflix movie, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Your Place or Mine, maybe.
I loved you like, and it was actually so I heard it was pretty good actually, and it was,
I haven't seen it.
122 minutes actually, but I wouldn't know.
I haven't seen it, but I thought it was
his character's called Rick, but I wouldn't know
that. What else do I want to say? Yeah, look, Brixton as well as the setting. It's just like it's the type of thing you could probably do that anywhere, but I think again the characters being of African American descent, does that help?
British American,
British African descent.
Yeah, sorry.
Does that like? It was just different to see. It was a different part of London to see because you're so used to seeing.
I was about to say it's nice to watch a
West End or you know.
Well, it's nice to watch a British rom-com that doesn't have Keira Knightley and
Hugh Grant.
Who I'm big off board of Hugh Grant these days.
Yeah,
between Paddington and what you call it. The Dungeons and Dragons and the Gentleman of Court Ryman.
Yeah.
Can't
wait to see what these actors do.
Yeah.
And
put them in a Marvel movie. Get everyone into a Marvel movie.
Yeah.
First time director as well. Fuck off.
I know. Yeah. It's even there was a scene in a restaurant. It was brilliant. It was really well shot as well because it jumps from a side shot where you can see every character to like head on,
like profile kind of shots,
and anytime someone's talking, and it just adds so much tension because like you don't know what any character is going to say at any moment.
How much did you love the character of Eric?
Oh yeah,
that's where I was just like, I feel like David and I like this guy. Yeah, he's such a moron.
Yeah, exactly.
Such a doofus.
Yeah. There's the music as well. It was just I probably was a bit harsh on my scoring of it.
I think 4 stars ago. I gave 4.5 just because I had so much fun.
Yeah,
and it's my favorite movie of the year so far.
Yeah, that's fair.
Very surprised by it. Again,
brilliant. And I would love people to see this.
Yeah,
I'd love people to see it because
it's out of cinemas though. But when it's on streaming of sorts, go check it out.
The BBC should do a streaming service in Ireland that we can watch.
Okay, well, you've heard it there, Charles. Get on it.
I don't know.
There you go.
What am I talking about?
David, speaking of...
Oh, sorry, yeah, that's the important question. Do you wave at boats?
I don't wave at boats. Who the fuck waves at boats? That's just psychopathic in my opinion.
Would you wave at people on the Viking Splash?
No. I'd actively just not make their eye contact. There's a whole thing about this in this movie where she's just like, there's people who wave at boats and there's people who don't have joy in their life. And I'm happy to report, ladies and gentlemen, I ain't got no joy. Fucking waving at boats. Grow up.
Jesus, start Martin.
Dave, speaking of waving, how about waving your fists about? Creed 3.
Creed 3. We're back with Donnie Creed. He has retired from the game. He's gone into...
Why did he retire?
Yeah, I don't know. Because of the story, guy.
But like, what? Okay, not to. I'll let you talk about this movie in just 30 seconds. But like, there's a whole thing about like, I guess I'll come out of it. Spoiler alert: he comes out of retirement. It's on the poster. And he's like, I'm coming out of retirement, and then he goes back into retirement. But they've announced Creed 4, so we have to do this all over again.
Yeah, I know.
Nonsense. Anyway,
I did think it was funny. I'm not gonna. It's not a huge spoiler, but at the start of the movie, he fights the guy he fought at the end of the first one.
The first one or the second one?
The first Creed.
Okay.
He fights him. Okay. And at the end of that movie, your man he fights, I can't remember, was it Conlon?
Sure.
Yeah. Conlon was at the end of his career.
Saul?
And now
No.
Donnie Creed has gone through his whole career and is now fighting him again. And now he's at the end of his career. So something is off.
It's a bit of a mess of a movie. But
okay.
Anyway.
But anyway, he's gone into more of the management coaching game. He comes across an old friend... Dame Anderson.
Yeah, Dame
Damien
Anderson.
Damian Anderson,
Mr. Anderson.
who ended up in prison for a certain reason. I won't go too much into it. Anyway, when he eventually gets out of prison, he wants to get back into the game, because when he went to prison, he was actually a pretty good boxer. He was he was building his way up to be in the Olympics, and then eventually, obviously, go pro and stuff like that. He had plans, but his intentions aren't what they seem, and so Donnie is going to have to get out of his suit, back into some shorts, and back into the ring.
And wave those fists about.
Yeah, like, big thing for me, any Rocky movie, number one, good soundtrack. This one was okay. Number two, good training montage.
Bad training montage in this.
Yeah, poor. Yeah, it was disappointing, I think. I didn't think the last one was great, but I definitely think it was better than this. And the first one I thought was actually a great movie. Like, I think it's probably one of the best Rocky movies. Maybe not as good as the first one, but probably better than any of the other ones. Yeah. So this one was hugely disappointing. Now, in saying that, I would like to see Michael B. Jordan direct again, because I think what he did with this was he put his own stamp on it. In a lot of interviews, he talked about his love of anime and how he influenced certain shots in this movie. He talked about what else he talked about? Anyway,
I love waving my fists about. I'm Creed 3.
But at least when he was obviously given a chance to direct something like this, and he's put his own stamp on it. So I would like to see what he does again. Now, in saying that,
get him into Marvel. Everyone goes Marvel.
The next Black Panther movie.
No, get him back as Human Torch.
Yeah, as a multiverse.
Flame on.
Now, I thought Jonathan Majors was great, and I liked his character, because there's a lot of Rocky villains who are just
mean,
a bit
angry,
mindless.
and big.
There's nothing really to them. They're just like, I beat you, so you have to beat me.
Who was the one from number 3? Mr. T?
Mr. T, yeah.
Who was the 4th one? Drago?
Drago.
Who was the 5th one? Old Age?
No, that was the 6th one.
That was the 6th one.
That was, do you remember the guy, he was Rocky was coaching him, but he turned on him?
I don't remember, but sure.
I thought he was more of a kind of scheming character. He was getting his claws in when he needed to, and took advantage of certain elements. So I liked that. Now, Tessa Thompson,
underused,
completely obsolete, and I think we talked about this afterwards, that like it would have been great to see her character maybe take a different, or make different, not necessarily different choices, but have a different opinion on certain things, and have that contrast between her and Adonis Creed, or Michael B. Jordan's character. It would add a different element to the actual fight.
Yeah, and to go back to what you're saying about what makes Jonathan Majors Dame a different villain, is that he's playing mind games as well as being a big scary man.
Yeah,
and
he has a plan when he's in the ring. Like,
that's what I mean. Yeah. But it's also, he has a plan outside the ring as well. He has these kind of sly conversations with Tessa Thompson's character that you think might, like you say, become a rift between the two of them. Yeah. But then her storyline is just completely dropped to the Adrian character of being like, alright, you're great at boxing, go Rocky, go box for us, because you gotta box and you like boxing, and don't mind what I want to do, just once you have me boxing.
And then
best Tessa Thompson impression I think I've ever done.
That was the best one,
hey, I was in Thor Ragnarok and Love and Thunder. I'm Tessa Thompson. I was also in Men in Black.
The final thing I'll just mention is I know why he made this choice at the end for the fight at the end.
Yeah, it's very, very
unusual.
Yes, unusual. A swing and a miss, some would say,
but
swing and
again, I like that he made those choices, and it wasn't just like it could have been very generic, but I suppose he put his own spin on it. Didn't work for me. Don't know if it worked for him.
How many boxing movies are there? You have to do something to try and.
The Fighter, Rocky,
Raging Bull, $1 Million Baby.
$1 Million Baby.
Grudge Match with Sylvester Stallone and Sly. You got all the Rocky movies.
Yeah, anyway.
That's it. Anyway, I like that he was just like, right, how do I try and enhance or elevate or do something different with it? Yeah.
Too long as well.
It was it?
I thought it was too long.
I have my first thing on my notes when I wrote them down was the first 40 minutes are pointless.
Yeah.
Because it's this whole dance of like, ooh, is he going to get back? We know he's going to get back in the ring. Yeah. Don't waste our time with this.
And the other thing was there's a fight in the middle, which I thought was a lot better than the fight at the end.
Oh, yeah.
Because
the cool entrance as well with the smoke and the...
Yeah, I love that.
That was class.
Love that.
That's why I was kind of like, oh, this Michael B. Jordan guy might be good at acting.
Yeah.
That joke made sense in my head. Michael B. Good acting is what I meant to say. Nope, we're not going back and doing that.
At the end of the day, I thought it was disappointing. Especially, I think, coming off the first one, I thought the first one was absolutely fantastic. Like, it was a real back to form. The second one was grand. I think it's probably on par. This one was just so disappointing.
But I think what was missing quite a lot from it, and as much as it probably, he's not listening, but he'd love to hear it, is Sylvester Stallone.
Yeah,
missing from it. And that, like, it was just missing that Rocky feel to it, I felt.
Yeah.
And I think obviously there's a point where you do have to move the franchise away from those 5 movies that came out from like 1970 to like 2006. No, 6 movies from 1970 to whatever. Yeah. Anyway, no, but there's a point of moving it on, but I don't think there was anything distinctive enough in this to sort of make it its own, unless there's some of those creative choices he's made is what's going to be carried forward.
Maybe.
I don't know.
I just, like, I'd watched Creed and Creed 2 recently enough. And the best thing about those is that Rocky feels like the kind of the audience's conscience, and he adds not necessarily realism, but like an understanding to everything that's being done. Like, he asks, Creed questions like, why do you want to do this? What, what's the reason, whatever. And again, I feel like there was none of that back and forth with anyone in this movie. There was no kind of headbutting with Creed. Anytime he's making a decision, it was just like, I'm going to do this for me.
Yeah.
Whereas, like, I think with Creed 2, or Creed 1 and Creed 2, there was always that back and forth with Rocky. He's like, what's the reason for this? Why are you doing this? How are we going to do this? Yeah. If you're going to do this, you're going to do it right. This one kind of just felt like, I'm going to do what I want because I have to, or, there was some weird kind of vague reasons.
Yeah, it's a totally fine movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I have to say, I mirrored a lot of what you say there. I think it was just perfectly fine. I came out of it being like, I've watched a movie.
Yeah.
I wish I could say a bit more things about it other than like, yeah, Jonathan Majors is good in it. Some interesting director choices. It's a perfectly fine boxing movie, and I don't care about it anymore.
What was this rated on Rotten Tomatoes? I feel like, again, it's overrated in that terms.
Creed 3. I gave it... I'll tell you how many... Why are we asking these Hollywood elite what they think we should be plugging our own Rotten Tomatoes.
I gave it 3, I think.
I must have given it 2.5 then. It's on 89% Rotten Tomatoes, and that can honestly get fucked.
Yeah.
It's not like, it's so fine. Again, that speaks more to the flaws that are within Rotten Tomatoes than anything else.
Yeah, I gave it 3.
I gave it 2.5 because I'm an angry man. Also because I don't like Hennessy, David, and there was a lot of Hennessy promotion in this. Shall we move on?
Let's do it.
Speaking about overrated...
Correct.
John Wick Chapter 4.
Yes.
So yes, this John Wick Chapter 4 is everything you would expect from a John Wick movie. It's this monosyllabic hero who is just making his way through waves of henchmen in the seedy underworld of assassins with the odds stacked against him, and using inventive and mind-blowing ways to sort of overcome these people with very pretty lights in the background. So this movie picks up where the last one left off, which if I'm honest, I don't remember. We turned to each other at the beginning of this movie like, what happened to the last one again?
Someone was saying this to me in work. He was like, I think this takes place over the space of like 2 weeks. Like John Wick 1
really?
to John Wick 4.
What is he eating for breakfast?
No,
can't be just having ready breakfast.
Exactly.
Yeah. It's ridiculous.
You don't see him eat anything.
No, but that's what I mean. It's just like, where's he getting his energy from? But anyway, so yes, he is on the outs with the organization called The Table, who organized this underworld of assassins after he did something in the last movie that obviously he wasn't supposed to do, that I don't remember what it was. I think he shot someone in the hotel.
That was in the second one, and I think he was just. I think the whole third one he was just on the run.
Yeah, that was the Parabellum.
Yeah, the Parabellum.
Everyone knows what that word means.
And I think the problem was that none of the assassins could kill him, and then Ian McShane shot him, and he fell off that roof.
Yeah,
but he was all right.
But see, did he not have to go up against someone else in number 3? This is painful listening. I can imagine just someone who does listen. No,
that was the second one.
No, it was something about him and Halle Berry. Anyway, it's not. Look, it's not important. Yeah. But anyway, so what this movie is about is John Wick's on the run, and he has to try and find some sort of refuge with any of his previous allies, but he's being constantly chased by the Marquis of France. He has a fancier name, I can't remember, but he's played by Billy Magnuson, and it's based not Billy Magnuson. He's not played by Billy Magnuson. He is played by Billy Skarsgård. And
although
well, wouldn't that be interesting? No, so basically it's all about John Wick running out of time, running out of anywhere to hide effectively as he is hunted down, and then ultimately as the movie goes on, him and the Marquis come to an understanding of how this is going to be resolved, and it's yes, it leads to a climactic third act that is absolutely incredible and breathtaking and worth the price of admission. However, before you get to that, you have to watch about an hour and 40 minutes of just a lot of punching and fighting and kicking and screaming and shooting and stabbing and just bad dialogue. So one of the so this movie is directed by the same guy who's done all the other three. However, what's missing from this is the original writer, and that tells, because like we have been able to demonstrate, I think, to the listener right now, is that we don't know what the fuck that movie was about. Because there's just like the movie is like 80% punching or like shooting, but in terms of like the actual narrative, it's just not there. I don't know, because the fighting is interesting enough to keep you gripped, but if you don't know what he's fighting for at times, you kind of don't know why you're watching at some points. Yeah. And as inventive and as cool as the fighting is, it kind of begins to wear off for a while, because there's one scene in particular in Osaka, and it goes on for ages, and you're like, okay, I get it. I get the point you're trying to prove here, but you could stop now. Yeah.
So the thing we mentioned with Dungeons and Dragons is that they had these set pieces and they stitched them together really well. In this one, they obviously had these set pieces and they just said, let's just jump from one to the next and see what happens. Yeah. You mentioned Osaka, cut that whole segment.
But we wouldn't. The nunchucks.
Put the nunchucks in a different scene.
But you can't have nunchucks not being Osaka, David. Those are the rules.
Yeah. What am I? Sorry, I just want to mention here. I've made notes, Gary, as I mentioned. Okay. And I've
like you do every month.
Like I do every month. Yeah. I've broken everything up into good and bad. Okay. And the first thing I have in the good section is action, and then the first thing I have in the bad section is also the action. Okay. so. The problem is, this is just the same thing.
As like the last one?
The amount of times we just see John Wick with that pistol going around close to chest, just turning corners, shooting lads in the head, and then he does a tumble, and then he punches them in the head.
He shoots in the chest and then the head. There's rules to this, David.
So my first big thing will be cut that Osaka thing, because I feel the only reason that's there is to build up to that character that we see. I don't want to spoil it.
Donnie Yen.
Well, yeah. See, he was cool in Osaka, but the girl.
Yeah.
Like I think she's going to be a big part in Ballerina.
Sure. Maybe the John Wick spin-off with Ana de Armas.
So then, there's some scenes where it's like insane action, very incredible choreography. Just like compress it, just like 80%. Yeah. Just cut off 10% either end, and it's great. But you just spend way too much time, and then you see this guy get up, and then he gets hit by a car, and then he hits someone in the head, and then he gets knocked down, and
he literally falls out. It's not so much of a spoiler. He literally falls out of a 3-story building onto a car. Yeah, and he goes, "Oh, better keep going."
Yeah. So just at this stage, he's a superhuman. Yeah. So, Donnie. Speaking of Donnie Yen, I thought he was incredible. I just thought his whole fighting style was just so much more unique than anything else we had seen.
Because he's blind.
Because he's blind
in real life.
Yeah, exactly. Which I just enjoyed. And I think he seems to use that fighting style in all of his movies. It's just like, it's almost like dodge. It's counterattack almost, rather than
it's like composed and using their energy against them, kind of thing, or using their momentum against them.
Some cool gadgets we saw.
Yes, the doorbells.
It was brilliant. But it just, some of that was just too few and far between, and it was just too similar to what we had seen before, and which works in a shorter movie. Like if this was even like just 2 hours bare minimum, I think this works well. But it's just way too much of what we'd seen before. Yeah. As you said, it's like background neon, fights in the dark. It's a lot of the same of what we've seen before. So like, cut the runtime.
Change Billy Magnuson. Get him out of there.
Magnuson.
No, I thought, so Bill Skarsgård is a very intimidating, scary dude, and he plays the main villain in this. However, he's doing what I believe is let me just check my notes here, French accent. And it's just so it just kept taking me out of the movie every time.
See, the problem is he's a big dude. Like, he's probably 6'2", 6'3", but like, he never seems to do any actual, like,
but I think
fighting.
I think that's the point, is he's meant to be,
but
this
like,
sort of,
if you're gonna have that character, make him a small little dweeb. Because like, he acts like a dweeb in this.
Yeah, but I don't know. Who's a French little dweeb? They should have got Timothée Chalamet.
Yeah. No, I don't know. Would he fit in that universe?
No, but that'd be hilarious.
I suppose, yeah. I just thought miscast. I don't know necessarily miscast, because like, he works.
It's a bad character.
Yeah.
Yeah, fair.
And then just the city hopping as well.
Very James Bond-esque.
Yeah, but the reasoning for it was weird.
Yeah, he was like, you gotta go here to get a crest.
Yeah.
And then they do another thing.
The whole thing in Paris, like, just cut that down.
No, I stand by Paris thing being incredible. I love
even the roundabout.
I love the roundabout.
Way too long.
No, I thought it was great.
No,
but see, I don't know. I liked that it was so long. I don't know. I had a lot of fun with the Paris scene because it just kept building and building and building and building. But it was like different. It wasn't like, so obviously it was the roundabout scene at the Arc de Triomphe, and then of course they're going to Sacré-Cœur, so they must stop by this like other chateau that's definitely not on the way, and that's a cool like close combat sort of fight house scene. And then there's a it's not too much of a spoiler, but they're trying to get to Sacré-Cœur.
Yeah.
It's in Paris. It's on the fucking poster. But there's a fight on like a staircase. That's very, very good and very, very funny. But as I told to you and my friend Charlotte, who lives in Paris, I couldn't take it seriously because I know there's an Irish pub at the top of that stairs on the left, and I had a pint of Guinness, and I just kept thinking, I had a Guinness there. I was like, oh, but John Wick's killing a guy. Okay, cool. But also, I think another thing, and again, I won't overdo it. Yeah, what's the word? I won't overdo this point in that they have like bulletproof suits.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like, it kind of takes
away
the threat of a gun in the movie, in that like, you can get shot like 50 times and you're still fine once it doesn't hit you in the face. Yeah. Once you get hit anywhere else, you're fine. So like, there's no real threat in the movie kind of thing, unless you're getting, but even when you get hit by a car, you're still getting up after it.
The thing is, they changed that in a scene when they go into the house and there's the God's view, because they add this new weapon. Yeah. Which I think that scene again was brilliant, and it was really well done, but I just think it was way too few and far between.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. Yeah.
And then some of the villains in this, like, it's like rejected James Bond villains.
That's fair.
And I suppose it is that kind of, it's edging on spoof, which I get, because like they're going for that kind of B movie style action movie, but it just doesn't work when you're trying to be like, some characters trying to be like overly serious, and some characters just seem a bit dumb or stupid.
No, that's fair.
Now, in saying that,
what do you think without? Yeah, sorry.
I had a good time. It's just, again, the run time is the big.
And like, I'll happily sit and watch a 3-hour movie.
But keep you engaged.
I do love an hour and 20. I'm not gonna lie. No, but yeah, keep me engaged. Keep me like keep it moving quick enough. And like I said, because it's a bit like Elvis in a way that it's so overly stimulating. Yeah. But also you have the heights of heights, and then whenever it's coming down from that, you're kind of like, this feels like a different movie now altogether. Yeah. And also, like, look, Keanu Reeves is John Wick, but like, you know, you kind of need someone a bit more charismatic to carry the movie when you're not doing punching. And the fact that he's very like, says like 5 words, and he's just like, yeah, well, it's just that.
I feel like that's the only reason they brought Lawrence Fishburne back, because there was no reason for him to be in this, really. That's not really a spoiler, but like, again, when he's on screen, I feel like he's very charismatic.
Yeah, and the same with Ian McShane.
Ian McShane as well, and like they're trying to fill a void there. Keanu.
Hey, Keanu, do you want some more lines this time?
No.
Yeah. What? Non-stop. It's just like, okay.
And look, to be fair,
I've got a gun. It's just that. It's just, and it's like, even though he says like short sentences, even slower, he's fine. He's a lovely dude.
But look, I think I'm personally probably in the minority, because everyone seems to enjoy this. Again, I listen to Mark Commode. He seems to really enjoy this, and you know, I think like, I don't know if you listen to Jeremy Johns. He seemed to think like this was flawless movie, which is outrageous. Like,
I don't know. Look, again, I don't know. Everyone's entitled to their own opinion.
I suppose. But
look, we could go on longer about this, but then again, we'd be becoming the things that we're complaining about. But we should pump the brakes a bit, Dave, and we should stop talking about all the movies that we have seen recently. in cinemas and talk about the movies that we hadn't seen in cinemas but watched at home in our segment I like to call I Tell You What I Saw the Other Day. I saw jack shit this month. I watched very little that's on streaming services in Ireland because I actually rented everything from YouTube. And, yeah, big time. And, yeah, so I didn't watch too much. So I don't have, like, many great suggestions. But I have, like, 2 that are, like, cinema classics that are worth checking out if you have weird streaming services. And another one that's a fun time. So I'll probably start with the one that's a fun time. It's on Disney Plus. It's called The Full Monty. I don't know if you've ever heard of it. Yeah. It's based by a load of Sheffield steel workers that go out of work and they have to find a way to make up some cash, and they see that their local theatre is showing the Chippendales and it's taking a load of cash. So these very burly football-y lads, steel workers, have to learn how to dance and dress all sexily for the women and
women of Sheffield.
The women of Sheffield, and yeah, it's just a fun time. It's just that British comedy. It's an hour and a half long. It's directed by a guy who did good things. I forget his name, and there's some good people in it. Couldn't tell you their names either. And it's Best Picture nominated for the Oscars. It lost to Titanic, which I think was totally fire. And
what's your man's name? The main character,
Rick something.
No. Oh. The main actor.
Rick or Nick?
Robbie
Callum. No, what's his name? Yeah, Robert Carlyle. Yeah, and Mark Addy is in it. Hugo Spear, Tom Wilkinson is in it. He's very good actually, and it's directed by a guy called Peter Cattaneo, who has done movies that, like, he's done nothing else. He did The Rocker. Remember that movie from 2008 with anyway, with Rainn Wilson. Anyway, it's on Disney Plus. It's half an hour. It's a decent fun time. Watch it with the family. It's fun.
You watch it with the family?
Yeah, watch it with the family. It's fun.
Anything else?
Sorry.
You want me?
We'll do like a tennis game, David.
A tennis match. Jesus. Saw JFK.
He's dead, David.
I saw JFK on Netflix. 3 hours. Now I know we talked about long movies. We just talked about long movies. Silly fun. Some silly conspiratorial fun.
That movie's just hot garbage.
No, it's not. Do you know what? The biggest problem with that is the whole family drama. Cut that out and just focus on the conspiratorial element.
See, but you need that in any movie where it needs to be like, oh, this guy would commit to this if it wasn't for his family kind of thing. And what turmoil comes from that. We saw it in First Man, we saw it in American Sniper, we saw it in something else I watched recently that I can't remember, but it doesn't matter. It's just it's directed by Oliver Stone, who's done Platoon and other such things, and it's just the movie comes across as very tinfoil hatty. That's my problem with it. Yeah. It's very like, actually what happened was the CIA was talking to the FBI and they knew that if they flipped a coin on the 3rd day of every month, they'd actually be able to get the National Guard to fly overhead, and that's when they knew, because JFK had Shreddies that morning, and because he was using low-fat milk. It's just kind of like, okay, cool. Okay.
Yeah, okay, I get that. But
I just felt very crackpotty for me. But that's a good. I'm very surprised your man didn't win an Oscar for it, though. I thought he was very good in it. The main guy,
Kevin Costner.
Yeah, Clark Kent's dad.
Clark Kent's dad. The cast is incredible.
Tommy Lee Jones in a stupid hat, a stupid wig. Joe Pesci in a stupid wig. John Candy?
Yeah.
Wayne Knight.
Wayne Knight, yeah, your friend.
My friend,
who is the guy that plays Kevin Costner's mate?
Oh, Gary Oldman's in it?
Gary Oldman. Yeah, he plays
the guy.
Lee Harvey Oswald.
Yeah.
Kevin Bacon.
Donald Sutherland.
Yeah. Donald Sutherland, that bit.
That's a great scene. That's a very, very good scene.
Michael Rooker was the guy I was thinking of.
This is also available on Disney Plus, though, by the way, if anyone wants to check that out.
Is it?
Well. Yeah, there you go.
There you go.
It's 3 hours and 26 minutes long.
It's
fine. It's a nice. I will say it does end in a nice little court scene that is like very uplifting. It's a bit uplifting and very much like, seek the truth. You know what I mean? Like, which I feel like the message of the movie was that.
Yeah. And there is some real life drama that's going on around. The release of certain documents or certain secrets by the American government, which relative to, it makes sense to.
Yeah. I'll tell you what I saw the other day, a movie called Sunset Boulevard. Now this is where I get all artsy-fartsy cinema-esque.
God, what a nerd.
No, this is actually a great movie, and it's been parodied so many times. It's you've definitely seen it in Simpsons, I feel, or Family Guy or something, where it's like, it's the one about like this guy who's like floating dead in a pool. He's like, so that, I bet you're wondering why I ended up here. So that's me. I'm writer. It's basically, it's all about this guy who is a writer in Hollywood, and he's down in his luck, and he's avoiding these sort of guys who are trying to like take his car because he owes money and stuff like that. And he comes across this house with this old Hollywood icon from the silent movie era, and she's absolutely deluded and crazy because the first time they meet is she's giving a funeral to her chimpanzee, and it's so he kind of begins to buddy up with her because he's like, oh, we'll make a movie together, even though, like, you know, it's just kind of feeding into her delusions of like, oh, of course we're going to make a movie together. And then, like, all of a sudden he's living with her, and he starts to sacrifice his, you know, beliefs and morals because he's like having the cozy life. But it's filled with a load of Hollywood kind of references, and yeah, and it's not like inside jokes into Hollywood and stuff like that, but also it's shot really well, and it's the story, and there's a great narration throughout it that's really, really effective, and it's quite good. And your man, the main guy in it, whose name I can't remember because that would have involved me having to remember something, is very, very good, and it's directed by a very important man whose name I don't remember either. So, and the score is great, the cinematography is fantastic, and the actress, my god, if I could remember her name, I'd tell you she was great too. And no, it's fantastic. I had a really fun time with it, and it is very like it's all in black and white, and maybe it's a bit artsy fartsy, but I don't think so. It won Best Picture, maybe. I don't know. That could be a lie. And you said you had notes for this podcast, right? I don't need to write anything down. No, it's very fun. I'd recommend it. It feels like a good Sunday RTE movie to stick on. Of
where'd you see it?
Paramount Plus, our favourite streaming platform of all, David.
How do you get that password off you?
It's 123 password.
Tell you what I saw the other day. I saw a movie called The Help. It's about racism.
It is.
It's about African American women in Mississippi,
the South,
who end up releasing a book with a confidant of theirs who happens to be white, about the stories that go on and how they're treated in their places of work, jobs. Yeah, I had a good time with it. This is, again, an incredible cast.
Disney Plus again.
Disney Plus,
We're doing some great work for Disney Plus today.
Yeah, I know. God damn it, they should really be paying us.
They really should.
So a great cast. I think I was looking this up. Viola Davis, was she nominated that year?
She was, and she lost to a person whose name I don't know.
Well, I thought she was brilliant in this anyway. Again, sorry, I'm going to mention the cast.
She is important.
Jessica Chastain.
She is good.
And
she is loved.
Jessica Chastain and Bryce Dallas Howard.
Yeah.
Emma
Who
Stone,
put them in the same movie?
Yeah, exactly. Octavia Spencer and
Oscar-winning Octavia Spencer.
Exactly. Yeah. So look, firstly, I can understand why some people don't like this movie. It's very kind of green booky, but I was just not a big fan of that kind of whole white savior stuff. Like this was a.
But it is a true story.
It is a true story, exactly. And the big thing is, and I believe this in real life and whatever. If you're ever going to make change, it needs to come from the middle class. The upper class are never going to do it. The lower class don't have the power. If there's ever going to be change, it has to be from the middle class, which is where it comes from in this movie. So anyway, the other thing I wanted to mention is, and it's something that you had mentioned previously on the Oscars podcast, is it was great to see a movie this well done with such a huge amount of female performances. Because again, we've been so used to seeing say Oscar nominated performances from women coming from movies that are very, very poor or whatever. So to have it, like I mentioned, the likes of Octavia Spencer, Viola Davis, Jessica Chastain, Bryce Dallas Howard, all these incredible women doing really, really good jobs. I wouldn't say, any of them are like amazing in it, but like all of them really, really good performances. Given that kind of platform, it's a female led film that obviously got a lot of recognition at the time. So yeah, I enjoyed it. But again, I can understand, say, some people will have that reservations about it.
So Viola Davis lost to Meryl Streep for Margaret Thatcher in The Iron Lady.
Oh, we all know our thoughts on that one.
We all do. Yeah. It's a fucking horrific, vile movie. Yeah. And then
I'll tell you after.
Okay, cool. That's an off the pod comment. And then Octavia Spencer won for Best Supporting Actress, and I actually would have. I think it's because I went in knowing she won, but I thought Jessica Chastain was unbelievably devilishly evil in this. No, Bryce Dallas Howard. Yeah. Sorry, Bryce Dallas Howard was so evil.
I did see that the review. Someone's like, they're testing us to see how well we know the difference between.
Turns out I do not. She was very good in this, and that's a fun little movie. It's Tate Taylor directed it, David.
Who?
he hasn't done much else. He did Girl on Train, Ava, and Get On Up. Okay, I'm really starting to run out of steam here. Cinema Paradiso, David, on Mubi is my other one I watched the other day.
That doesn't count.
No, I tell you what, no, I loved it because, again, it's another movie about movies, but it's far too rom-com-y for me. It starts off great. It's all about a little boy called Toto, and he befriends an old projectionist in their local Cinema Paradiso, and all of a sudden it's all about him falling in love with movies and then making a friend in this old man. But then he grows up and starts to like a girl, and it all becomes rom-com-y. I'm like, boo! Go back and help Alfredo back in the booth. Don't be looking at these girls. Yeah, it's a fun time. It's
That sounds like you.
Yeah, I just want to be adopted by an old man in a projection booth. And I don't know if you saw my review for it, where I was like, Alfredo and Toto must be racking up some serious letterbox numbers. And it's a fun time. It also won Best Foreign Feature Film at the Oscars in 1988. So yeah, and it's all in Italian. So I've gone full movie nerd. Have you actually not seen the 1988 Italian movie?
Molto bene.
It's molto bene. Yeah, it's a fun time. The little kid is absolutely great in it. He's very, very good, and so is the old man. Yeah, it's a fun time. I don't know. That's, again, I did not watch much that was on streaming services, unless you want me to talk about Scream 2, but I would rather throw it over to you.
I don't really have much else. I was going to say Three Idiots. It's fine. No, it's grand. It's actually pretty good, but it's an Indian movie, and it's 3 hours.
So my thing about Three Idiots, by the way, fair play for picking movies I've seen, so thanks for that. The thing about Three Idiots is it has every single emotion ever to exist. It's one of those. It's a bit like or in that it tries to cover everything, but like I think with Three Idiots, it's just, it goes from like them having a singing, songing, dancing of a time, and then all of a sudden someone has committed suicide, and you're like, whoa, I was not ready for this.
You weren't ready for that U-turn. And then the other one was Can You Ever Forgive Me, which was totally fine.
Yeah.
And we don't need to hear about it.
Well, speaking about totally fine, David, we talking about Scream 6?
Yeah, sugar. It's my turn. Scream 6. So we follow on from the last one with the same cast of characters.
Scream 6, it's the one after 5.
Sorry, what I mean is...
And you said you did notes for this.
We're going along with the same cast of characters that we met in the 5th one. So
the sisters. Sanderson sisters. Summer sisters.
Craven? No.
Sisters.
Cronin. The director. They're named after the director.
Carpenter sisters.
There we go. Anyway, the Carpenter sisters. They've moved to New York.
Sam and Tara.
They've gone to college in New York.
Big Apple.
With their friends. And they're trying to, some of them are trying to just leave their past behind them. The whole ghost-faced killings in that town,
Woodsboro. I knew that one. I didn't have to Google it.
So they're trying to leave that behind, whereas some of them might be suffering little ill effects of it. And then eventually, anyway, we're introduced to a new Ghostface killer who is on the prowl in the Big Apple.
Yeah.
And is trying to get back at them.
Did we not see this movie 3 months ago? I feel like we watched this was so long ago. Yeah. I can't believe this was still March.
Yeah. We did a lot in March.
We did
a bit.
Yep.
We did some bits and pieces. As you say, I think we're going along the same lines of John Wick, as in like if you've seen any of the Scream movies and you enjoy them,
spoiler alert, someone dies.
Someone does die. Although they do make a few decisions which I enjoyed. Like at the start.
Love the opening thing. The Scream openings are always top notch, and I think this one did a good job of kind of subverting expectations and doing a bit of twists and turns, zigging and zagging, if you will.
Yeah. I liked some of the elements they use of New York City. Now, unfortunately, the trailers give away a lot.
Yeah.
Like by the end, I kind of knew where we were going with it. There are certain characters who shouldn't be in this movie. They should just cut those characters completely.
Mm-hmm. Ghostface, he scared me. I was terrified. I just wanted them to have a lovely time in New York.
And then the other thing I had was the whole decisioning behind the Ghostface. I was a bit like, come on, really?
Oh, as in like who ended up being the Ghostface killer?
Yeah. I was a bit like, that could have been better. Hold on, do I have anything else?
Length,
sorry. I said about the length. Trailer. Although, sorry, that was the other thing. The actors are all great. I've seen a lot of these movies and the actors are average.
Yes, that is true.
But I thought everyone does a good job in this.
Yeah, Jenna Ortega, Melissa Barrera, there's too many words in that name. She's changed that. They're both fantastic, and like I think they have much more charisma and are better actors than the original three from the first Screams. Yeah. So Neve Campbell doesn't come back for this, but Courtney Cox does. And spoiler alert for the last one, it was good. But also, your man died, Dwight. What's his name? Doofus.
Doug. Dougie?
No, what was his name?
Yeah, I can't remember. The policeman.
Dewey.
Yeah,
began with a D.
sorry.
So Courtney Cox feels a bit like, why are you here?
Yeah.
But I also did like to see that the franchise could continue without Neve Campbell, because she just wanted a load of more money, and that's fair, you know. And I think the two sisters, the actresses were fantastic. I think some of the other cast were good. Samara Weaving is in it for very brief.
No, but I like that.
But I know, but like she's great in it. She's great in it. I really had a lot of time for her character, and I want to see her in more things after Ready or Not. I thought Mason Gooding was very, very good, very charismatic, as is his sister in the movie, who's played by an actress, and that actress has a name, and her name is Jasmine Savoy Brown, who's very good as well. And although I love the screams when they're very, you know, tongue-in-cheek and very meta, but this one I think kind of got to me the most. I feel her breakdown of how it was all going to lay out. I think this was the one where I was kind of like...
Do you not feel like that happens? I feel like that happens in every single one.
I think it's because I watched Scream 2 and 3 that week. And then I saw 6 and I was kind of like...
stale.
Yeah, I was kind of like, we've done this.
The other thing was... what's that character from Scream 4?
Oh, Kirby.
Bit tagged on.
Kirby. Hayden Pantier.
Bit tagged on.
French for bread. I don't know. The
Cuisine de France.
Hayden Cuisine de France is she was fine. I would have rather than not bring her back. I know she's a fan favorite, and everyone online apparently was quite happy that she was coming back. But what she's given to do and how she fits into the story doesn't really gel. I thought I would have liked seeing her do more in it. But
in saying that, I had a really good time with it. I always have a good time with the movie.
I had a good time with it.
And I think these movies are you're always better off seeing them in the cinema.
Yeah.
I think they are. I just think that heightened sense of fear.
Yeah, and I think with this one as well, it was far more gorier than any of the others. It was very gory, and also I just felt, and I know you didn't have a problem with it, and I did, it's just everyone got stabbed so much, and I was so fine with it. Like, there's a scene where someone gets stabbed in the stomach, and then they're running around the next scene, and I was kind of just like, it's a bit like John Wick, and there's no consequences to any of the danger. I felt a lot of the time, so that pissed me off. And then
I don't know. Is that not something that happens in all of them?
See, this is why David, get angry about it. Come on,
like
join me on this level.
You had seen 2 and 3, so surely you were ready for that. Like, maybe
because I watched them before, and then I was like, I don't know. That was my. But look, totally fine. Like you say, if you like screams, But no, like if you're a fan of the Scream franchise, I don't think this lets you down too much.
I feel like we're not really selling this or selling any of these movies. It's like, if you like the last one,
because it was mid-month. Like Dungeons and Dragons, Rye Lane, and Tetris, top 3 movies this month, in my opinion. I know you hadn't seen Tetris.
They're all unique.
And they're all fun and worth price of admission.
Spoiler alert for Tetris.
We'll get onto it, yeah. Well, we talk about... okay, the next one's Shazam! Fury of the Gods. I'll do this very quickly. Speaking of great movies, this isn't one of them. No, Shazam! Fury of the Gods is a movie... We just leave it at that, will we?
I think that's enough.
No, look, I think what's interesting about Shazam! Fury of the Gods is how it plays into the DC shit show that's currently happening. So this movie's all about Billy Batson and his fellow foster kids, and they've all been given powers like in the last one, and now Billy's trying to keep everyone together because everyone's going in different ways, and people are going off to college, and people are using their powers in different ways or whatever. But all of a sudden the daughters of Atlas have come to Earth, I think, to try and get the staff back that the wizard had in the last one, to get the powers of Atlas back so they could rebuild their world by getting a magic apple to grow a tree to fix things. So they need to find the apple, but they don't know where the apple is. And they may or may not get the apple, but they have to fight the Shazam people to basically hunt down this apple. Man,
you are selling this.
And there's some zigs and zags, and there's some jokes, and there's some characters.
Disappointing. Hugely disappointing.
It's so fine. It's so bang average. It's right down the middle. If I watch it on a plane, as in
don't watch anything else.
I think it's like it mean. This is what I mean. It'd be interesting if it was to lead on to something important, but it leads on to absolutely nothing important. There's
which is funny because like we talk about movies just being movies, like focus on making a good movie. And I feel like that's what they tried to do. They didn't have any sort of outlandish, well, apart from that one character, which I just felt like that was not out of the blue, but it just felt so tagged on.
Yeah, no, that's fair.
So like, And then it was just so much stuff where I felt it just stuck out so much how badly they did it. There's a bit where they're in a library and they're talking about the Daughters of Atlas, and they're talking about, say their history or whatever. Show a flashback. Like, it's so obvious. Like, show us them, in their world. Right?
Yeah.
But they're literally talking to one another. It's so, it's so boring.
Yeah, and actually, and speaking about the Daughters of Atlas, Helen Mirren is very good.
Oh, yeah, she's
I thought
very
she
good,
lends this movie quite a lot of solid legitimacy.
Yeah.
And then also there's a scene where she's reading a letter, which is my favourite scene of the movie, I think. Where she's reading that letter that has been written to her.
Sorry, yeah.
That was very good.
Yeah.
She sold that. I thought Lucy Liu, I kind of would like to have seen her do more in it, but her character was very...
Lucy Liu was terrible in this. Like,
I don't think she's
terrible.
bad. I think the character is woeful.
Oh my god, she was horrendously bad.
Really?
I thought some of the line delivery was horrendous.
Okay.
Now, again, the lines aren't great.
But that's why I wasn't sure. I don't know.
She just brought nothing to it.
Yeah. No, that's a bit... I thought...
Maybe it's just because she was acting against
Helen
Mirren, but like... She just looks so bad. Now, there's a bit where she's on a dragon, and maybe she's just not used to doing those types of things. But don't sign up to this if you're not going to.
Speaking of dragons, that last scene, that last battle,
I did like
that was incredible.
Visual effects,
but also not in terms of like the quality of them, but the artisticness.
Yeah,
of them.
yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
And what also had this movie I should have started with this. What also was great in this movie, I thought, was the family dynamic in it. I think it's a great family movie, but it was also very emotional. I know that because the woman beside me wouldn't stop crying for the tears, David.
Wow.
Tears. And I was like, calm down. It's only Shazam, Fury of the Gods.
Yeah.
She was in tears.
Jesus.
The whole thing about that. Now, maybe it hit home with her about some things about like mothers and
this is the foster
sons.
ma,
and stuff like that. But I thought so that was good for her. And also I think what I liked about these Shazam movies is there's a very dark tone to them.
Oh yeah.
Like in the first one we obviously have that boardroom scene where a lot of people die, and in this
the start was pretty
in
brutal.
this one?
The start of this one, yeah.
Sorry, I was thinking about what they did to the teacher on the school roof.
Oh yeah, that was
that was very dark.
That was very dark, yeah.
So I think look, it's just super generic. It's got some dark things. The humor is fine. I think Zachary Levi is charismatic, but again, it's weird that he's meant to be a child as a superhero, but when we see him as a child, he's like normal.
Yeah, exactly. He and the other thing was with this movie is I could have actually done with the child actors a bit more.
Yeah, it was weirdly balanced between the two.
Yeah.
I don't know why they were superheroes as much.
Yeah.
Yeah,
there could have been bits that they've cut out, and maybe it just didn't work with the kid actors, and tonally wise, whatever. But I just felt, you're spending too long. It's like watching Spider-Man, and you spend so long of him as Spider-Man, and not enough of him as Peter Parker, and you lose that effect of like, oh yeah, these are actually kids.
Yeah,
when you spend the whole time with them as superheroes, you're like, oh, they should be competent.
Yeah,
they should know what they're doing. But like, you didn't get that chance to actually see them as kids.
Yeah.
Which I felt like they should have been like kids in the dungeon, in the cave and stuff. But yeah. And again, consistency wise, I felt like just, as you say, Zachary Levi, I don't know if he was trying to overdo it and whatever.
Same with G-Man Hansu. I was kind of like, I feel like you were being nearly a parody of the character you played in the first one.
Exactly, yeah. You should be more competent than you're pretending to be.
Rachel Zegler, what do you think of her in this?
She didn't have much to do, did she?
I felt like she either was thinking I'm better than this.
That was also way out. Like, it was weird. Like, it's just that tonal shift with her character.
Oh yeah.
Kind of out of the blue, unnecessary.
Yeah, and we won't say what it is. We're not just being bad at describing
and like,
things.
I like that kid. That kid's funny.
He's me a lot.
I liked him. But they literally
their
met each
relationship.
other.
They fall in love by saying two words with each other effectively. But I felt like, obviously we saw in West Side Story, and I felt like she was just, the whole time in this, she was just like, this is a paycheck gig.
Yeah.
That's what I was kind of getting from her. But I thought she was fine. I just thought she's better than this. It was like it's one of those weird movies where you could watch someone who's like, I don't know, nominated for an Oscar, and then all of a sudden a movie that was shot before that is now coming out. You get to see them in
before they were
and just kind of like, this feels weird.
No, she was better than Lucy Liu, which
you've got a hot vengeance against Lucy Liu.
Like, it's nothing against her personally, but she was just so bad in this. Fuck me. Like, and again, Rachel Zegler, she was fine. But again, she's acting against Helen Mirren, who's been in the business for so long. So,
business of kicking ass, taking
fight
names.
scenes were cool. I think fight scenes were cool.
The Paris pissed me off in that they were very inconsistent.
Yeah.
That's what annoyed me as well. And
Yeah.
that, like, Shazam's meant to have all the powers of Superman, but, like, doesn't use them when it's effective or
When it's
necessary.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is fine.
Disappointing.
Like, this is fine. This don't wish don't do.
What did DC... Sorry, Jesus. What are DC doing next? Oh, Flash, yeah.
Flash, and then it's over.
That'll
Then
be
it's
garbage.
Aquaman, then it's over. Then they're done.
Yeah.
Speaking of being done, God's Creatures.
Oh, yes. Funny actually you say that. I went to see Rye Lane and God's Creatures back
Without
to back.
me.
Yeah, without you. Back to back, which are both produced by BBC.
Oh, there you
which
go.
I thought was weirdly funny, yeah.
Which is weird that they haven't taken your request for a streaming service in Ireland. Seriously. Because you've been supporting their movies so much. You hear that, Charles?
Charles. Yeah, exactly. Okay, so God's Creatures is a film that takes place in vague kind of Irish town. It's a fishing village, and we are introduced to a mother, and her son comes back from Australia. And again, I don't want to go too much into it, but it is about their relationship, but also his relationship embedding himself back into the community.
Okay.
What else can I say? So, it's a slow movie. It's like
I'm glad I didn't watch it though.
it's like the first kind of hour is quite first say 40 minutes. It's quite slow. It's only about an hour and a half. And then it takes a turn.
Okay.
And what I would say is that really hooked me in because you see a character in a different light, which I thought was brilliant. Now it takes a bit of time to get there, but what I would say is everyone does a great job in this. Is like it's really, there's some emotional scenes in it. There is
Polly Mescal's in it.
Yeah, and what I would say, I was going to get to that, but
No, tell me now.
Paul Mescal's performance in this is like light years better than what you did in
Interesting.
Because like I feel like in After Sun, I don't really even know he's in it enough to be like, yeah, like a part of that. Well, you know what I mean. But this, he's actually playing a character.
Okay.
And like, I don't want to give it away. But
Okay.
it's just,
Yeah, don't give it away because I haven't seen it.
But I was just when the turn happens, it hooked me in, and I just really got on board with it. And I was just like, not blown away, but I was just like, yeah, I like where this is going, because it has a lot to say, not only about maybe Irish society, but like society in general, and how these kind of rural towns where like everyone knows each other can have, you know, positive impacts for certain individuals, negative impacts
like
for certain,
a sort of a
others.
protective element, but then also like a mob element.
A little bit. Really good that way. That's all I'll say. But I would absolutely recommend people see this. But again, just try and understand that first
40 minutes
is a little bit slow, but it's probably it is worth it.
Okay.
This is another one I'd love to get your opinion, because maybe I'm completely
I gotta go watch it now.
No, you don't need to go watch it, but like
I'll get around to it. I'm too busy watching Italian movies from the 80s.
Yeah, I was, again, I'm kind of always going into these smaller Irish movies with lowered expectations, just to be like, you know, look, it's relatively independent. There's not the kind of star power we get in the blockbuster movies or whatever, but I just thought story-wise there was some heavy stuff in this which I enjoyed.
Yeah.
Yeah, if people can go out to see it, support it. It's worth the look. And the one thing I mention is, my ma won't let me forget this, is
She was in it?
No, it's filmed in Donegal.
Ah, there you go.
So if you're going to the cinema, just look for the Donegal movie, as my ma would say.
There you go. Just go right up to the till and be like, excuse me, the Donegal movie, please.
Yeah. No, do I have anything else to say? Hold on. Do you have, like, hold on, sorry, I would say is, do you have anything?
No.
Sorry, did you have any interest before this?
No.
Or any interest after?
No.
Okay.
No, I don't know why I didn't. I don't know. I think it looked, I don't know. I knew nothing of this. It looked sad. It got Paul Mescal in it. I was kind of like, I'll see it. I'll wait for that to come to streaming. Speaking of great streaming movies, though.
Yeah.
I want to talk about this movie called Tetris. My second. I don't know if it's my second favorite. It's between that or A Man Called Otto, but I might just give it to this because I had more of a fun time and didn't feel sad. So Tetris is a movie about how the licensing agreements and rights to the video game Tetris were achieved Yeah, that's it. This is it. It sounds like the most boring premise. Like, how did this guy Hank Rogers get the distribution deals, or the licensing rights for Tetris on handheld consoles and video games? How did he do that? It might sound like an easy thing to do.
So no, sorry, it sounds a little bit like The Founder.
Kinda, yeah. But basically, what's happened is, so this guy who created Tetris, a man whose name I don't know, because again I don't remember anything, made the game in Soviet Union at the time, communist Soviet Union, and sold it or distributed it through Soviet Union, and eventually it found its way out. Yeah. And one guy bought the rights to it for like 10 grand effectively. Yeah. And this British company basically abused those rights and sold them off to other people for different regions and such like that, and we're making a load of money off it. But Hank Rogers comes along, played by Taron Egerton, and realizes that the Japanese market hasn't been bought up yet. So he is a man down in his luck. He has a video game company in Japan. This is his last shot. He's mortgaged the house. He's literally, his house is riding on this deal working out, and he buys the video game and console rights for Tetris in Japan. But then he realizes that that money is not going to come as quickly and as fast as he thought, so he has to try and find another way. And then all of a sudden Nintendo let on that they are creating a handheld console, and because that's the Game Boy, and because that's a new type of rights, he has to go to that British company, who have to go to that in-between man, who have to go to Russia. But when they've all realised that there's money to be made here, it's a race between all three to see who can get the rights first. Okay. So they all have to go to Soviet Russia, Soviet Union, and try and get the rights off this guy. However, to go willy-nilly into the Soviet Union in 1980s is not an easy task, and especially when the government are very aware of letting their sort of proprietary information get outside the Soviet Union. So Hank Rogers is up against this British firm. He's up against this sort of indescript European man that Toby Jones plays, but also against the KGB to try and get the rights to Tetris. It is a fun spy thriller about a video game. It's got some really funny comedy, surprisingly, for a movie that seems quite dull and dark. And my favourite thing about this movie is the score, because it remixes the Tetris theme, and I was singing it and humming it all day, David. It's a really fun time. It's on Apple TV Plus. It's just a lot of fun. It's produced by the same people who did Eddie the Eagle and Rocket Man. Marv is the name of the company. And then also it's directed by the guy who did Stan and Ollie, a movie I have not seen but I've heard good things about.
Very good. Can't wait to see it.
Yeah. Any questions?
No. Taron Egerton good?
He's very good. I would say, yeah, he just loves playing real life people. His American accent is very, I'm an American accent man. And one thing that probably doesn't sit entirely great with me is that he plays a guy, Hank Rogers, who is like Dutch.
Are you saying that weird?
No, Hank, Henk.
Oh wow, okay.
Who is he's a Dutch. He's from Holland, but is raised in America. However, I feel like his parents are Indonesian in that he looks Indonesian, the real life guy. Oh, okay. But Taron Egerton is playing him.
Yeah,
and it doesn't like
sit with you. Yeah.
In the sense that, there's one thing for this guy to be like, I'm an American. How hard is it for me to get around Soviet Union? Is like one thing, but then also, as a person of color, who's an American getting like that's another layer of difficulty that I think the movie somewhat glossed over in a way, which is a bit unfortunate. But even the character of Hank Rogers is he's such a cowboy. He's such a chancer. Like he goes over on a tourist visa because he goes, getting a business one's going to take too long, and he just walks into the Soviet Union like government being like, hey, I'm just looking to buy Tetris here. How do I go get Tetris? And it's all about, and it's a nice story as well about the guy who invented Tetris, because he doesn't profit from this at all, because he's not allowed to profit from it. But he just wants to bring the joy of Tetris to the world. It is a bit cheesy sometimes, where it's like, look at how Tetris can unite the world. It's a bit
by building a wall.
Yeah, it's a bit like bullshit like that. But I had a fun time with it, David. I'd highly recommend it. It's a lot of fun. I need someone else to watch it, because no one else I know has watched it, and I feel like I could be talking shite, but I had fun.
I'll watch it. See what I think.
But that's
March.
March, David.
How many movies was that?
That was 8. Yeah, that was a lot. Probably could have cut Shazam. We should do a new segment called like
Muck.
Yeah, blatant muck. And we just like, because no one's going to see Shazam. If they haven't seen Shazam, they're not going to see Shazam by now.
Yeah, I suppose.
There you go. Shall we talk about what's coming out in April?
Yeah, I have it up here, yeah.
Okay, well, we got first up out on next Wednesday or tomorrow. The podcast is coming out Tuesday.
Oh, sorry.
Today's Tuesday.
Today's Tuesday, is it?
It works. Air, David.
Yeah.
Sonny Vaccaro and Nike pursue basketball rookie Michael Jordan, creating a partnership that revolutionizes the world of sports and contemporary culture. It's got Matt Damon, Ben Affleck, Viola Davis, the guy from Rush Hour.
Arrested Development.
Oh, Jason Bateman, Chris Tucker. It looks awful, but apparently is reviewing quite well.
I don't know. I feel like this could be a thing that it's like in America it does well because there's like it's like almost a touchstone in America, the whole Air Jordan sneaker, and it's like I feel like Michael Jordan has such a big influence in that culture. It might not translate well. I don't know.
It could be a case of like a Le Mans 66 kind of thing. It could be like a Ford v Ferrari.
Maybe, yeah.
I don't know, but it looks fine. I want Ben Affleck to have a good life and be happy. Yeah. So if that means I go see this and enjoy it, then so be it.
Yeah.
Then we've got this Super Mario Bros. Movie coming out the same day. It's all about the plumbers. Plumbers. Tune in next week, guys. John's coming on to do Super Mario Bros. From 1993.
How'd that go?
They went well. We had a fun time. The movie's garbage though, and no one should watch it. So if this movie's better than that, we're on the right track as a society.
Did you see it's 80?
Oh, it's 130 minutes, I thought. No, not 130 minutes. Sorry, it's an hour and 30, sorry.
Yeah, 90 minutes. Like it's in the max screen 4 times a day.
Love it.
They're like, I literally think they've just like cut it down to like maximize profit.
Love it. It's great. I'm looking forward to it. It looks very fun.
Yeah.
And for
good
voice cast.
Yeah.
Illumination Animation or Entertainment. They do good animation.
So it is the same people that did Sonic.
No,
so they're
Sonic was Paramount.
Okay, that's interesting. They won't be able to cross over that.
Well, Sonic is Sega.
Oh fuck yeah! Sorry, I'm doofus.
Yeah, you are doofus. You're not as big as a nerd as I am. I got all those Dungeons and Dragons references.
Do they not fight in like
the Olympics? Yeah, they did.
No, not in the Olympics, but do they not fight in Super Smash Bros? No.
Yeah, that's all. Oh, maybe Nintendo owns Sega now.
Yeah, I would have. No, I don't know. It's over my head.
There you go. Then on the only 2 days after Sonic the Hedgehog, David, we've got The Pope's Exorcist. It's just a movie with Russell Crowe. I don't think I'm gonna watch it, but I needed something for the 7th of March.
Okay. 7th of April.
7th of April, yeah. I have March written down here. Then the next week we've got Renfield. So it's having grown sick and tired of his centuries as Dracula's lackey, Renfield finds a new lease on life and maybe even redemption when he falls for feisty that's a word I don't know. Angry traffic cop Rebecca Quincy. It's got Nicholas Hoult and it's got Nicolas Cage. It's Nick and Nick.
And Aquafina.
Is she in that?
Yeah, that's the cop.
Oh, is that the cop? Is that the feisty word I can't pronounce? Angry traffic cop. Very good.
Yeah.
Is she playing Aquafina or a character?
I don't know. I can't really tell.
There we go. This could be good or bad. I don't know. Is it Phil Lord and Chris Miller? Did I make that up in my head? Are they producing it?
Chris Lord and Phil Miller. No, I don't know. Sorry, I actually don't know. Yeah, I don't know. It looks silly.
Chris McKay. He did like a Batman movie. Yeah, I knew there was something back to Lego. I knew.
Yeah.
He did the Tomorrow War. Remember that movie?
Yeah. I'm saying here it's 16s and it's 93 minutes.
Love. April's gonna be great. All these 90-minute movies. Yeah. My God. Fun times ahead.
Yeah.
Then the next week, 21st of April, we've got Evil Dead Rise.
You've seen the trailer for
Looks so scary, David. I'm so scared. I'm not watching that. I'm actually. Oh look, I'm 9 feet tall. Okay, I've got muscles for days. You don't want to fuck with me. I'm not watching Evil Dead Rise. It gives me the spooks.
This comes out on my ma's birthday. So
we're not. I don't. We're busy. We're going to giving your mom birthday cake because this looks so scary. This is like the Evil Dead franchise. Every time this trailer comes on, I get so spooked.
Yeah, it came on during Scream.
Yeah.
I did not enjoy that. Like, how can something look that scary?
Oh, in the trailer.
The
Nah,
trailer.
I'm so spooked. I'm so spooked by that. I'm not sitting through that.
No.
And our favorite type of horror movie, and that's from people who don't love horror, is the one where it's like the anticipation or tension, like in Barbarian,
Yeah.
somewhat, in Smile. This just looks like scary.
Yeah.
I'm too spooked,
No,
David.
I don't like
I've got
it.
the heebie-jeebies. It's the
No.
scariest Halloween ever.
We're not seeing it.
It's-
But do let us know.
we
if it's
should
any
we
good.
should we should book we should tell Lily and Kier we're going. Go. Basically,
Oh yeah, we'll see you there.
yeah. The only reason those seats are empty is just a weird glitch. It says two sisters find an ancient book that gives birth to bloodthirsty demons that run amok in Los Angeles apartment building and thrust them into a primal battle for survival as they face the most nightmarish version of family imaginable. Fucking too right. No, too scared. Too spooked for that. We've then got the next week after that, we got a movie called Are You There, God? It's me, Margaret. When her family moves from the city to the suburbs, 11-year-old Margaret navigates new friends, feelings, and the beginning of adolescence. The only reason this is on my list is because it's the same director and writer of a movie I watched recently that I had a good time of, The Edge of 17.
This says it's coming out 19th of May.
Oh no! Have I got this wrong? This is every time I write these notes, Hollywood likes to play a little prank on me.
No, see, this is the Irish release date, so maybe it's coming
Oh,
out
maybe I got that wrong. Well, then we'll talk about it next week then. Or next month.
next month.
Anyway, and then we've got another shit movie then, which I assume is going to be shit, which is Peter Pan and Wendy.
Is this Disney Plus
Disney
release?
Plus doing it. I'm not going to watch it.
Muck.
Yeah. It's got Jude Law though.
As
Captain Hook. Oh, though wouldn't it be funny if it was Peter Pan?
I'm a really cool.
How do you make a Peter Pan movie, David? And you know where I'm going to go with this.
What do you mean?
How do you not cast two of the littlest, biggest boys in Hollywood
yeah, exactly.
and not have Tom Holland or
and
Timothy Chalamet?
Chalamet.
No! Make it better, David. You have Tom Holland as Peter Pan and Timothy Chalamet as Tinkerbell. I'm never going to grow old.
Technically, isn't Tinkerbell like mute in the movie?
Yeah, I wouldn't mind Timothy Chalamet zipping it for a bit, not gonna lie.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm just looking through the other things here. How to blow up a pipeline. Don't know what that is.
Is this your Google search
No, this
history?
is IFCO.
IFCO. Oh, yes.
Cairo Conspiracy. Don't know.
Okay.
Shazam.
No.
Don't know.
Oh, that's an animated movie, I feel. That was a big thing recently at some event.
1001.
Okay.
Don't know. And then last but not least, 28th of April, Polite Society.
Yep. I don't know. Yeah, okay, cool. So you just...
I don't know what they are.
Okay, well, go check them out and let
No,
us
but
know.
it could be stuff that pops up when, it comes into Omniplex and we're like, hey, look at this.
There you go. Yeah,
Like
could be.
Rye Lane. Imagine if I had said Rye Lane.
Yeah,
last
we didn't
month.
say Rye Lane last month.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah, we still went for it. Went to see it anyway.
Yeah.
So what was the point? Speaking of the point, David, thank you so much for doing this podcast again.
Another one in the books.
There you go.
Thanks.
No bottom at all. I want to say thank you to you, everyone who's listened to this, and all the other ones. If you'd like to keep up to date with the podcast, you can follow at Reading the Peers on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. You can follow either of us on Letterboxd with the links in the description. If you'd like to contact the podcast, you can email readingthepeers@gmail.com. Let us know if you've seen any of these movies or what you're planning to go see. If you're going to see Polite Society, let us know.
I'm going to look that movie up.
And you can subscribe and follow on your favourite podcasting platforms such as Spotify and Apple. And that's about it, I think. David, we have a Dungeons & Dragons tournament to get to.
We do?
Yep, we do have a Dungeons. Have you decided your character name yet?
Frigor the Magnificent.
Mine is Navan native actor Pierce Brosnan. I'm a paladin. And
What's a paladin? Palindrome?
I'm a palindrome, David. What are you, an isosceles triangle? You big... No, you wouldn't be because you're a big square.